Okay, the good news though is I think I want to play Basim over Tamiyo, which I know is weird. But let's do that. I think it's a better card advantage engine. I think it's better with the Cauldron plan. It's better for the plan Bs. I'm not gonna add Evolution Witness. I know the whole let's add this bad card for fun thing. It'll never go over well, unfortunately, because that's just not what we're here to do. I consider playing Breaching Dragonstorm and some of my older Invasion of Alara shells. I have, yeah. I have. Those decks, now that Fury and Grief are banned, are... When I've gone back and looked at them, they do not look very close to workable. I think I'm going to mulligan this on the draw. It's very close. I would probably keep on the play. This hand's way better. Actually, let's put back the Sewers. Just so I can, like, choose if I want to play a 1-drop or Surveil. Not that I have that many 1-drops. Which card could replace Basim? You could play Tamiyo instead. We started this league with Tamiyo. I'll say that I think Basim is better than Tamiyo. You could play some amount of Oval Chase Daredevil. You could play Emperor of Bones if you don't want to play Basim. If you think Basim is not... I do think Basim is the best plan. It gives you like a good card draw engine that's resilient to graveyard hate and like a really comprehensive plan B that I think is just so important. What if you don't want to play the Asmo package? Well, I'll say this, if you don't like how I built the deck, maybe you build it differently yourself. If okay, they always have the frog, it seems. I guess we have to keep this on top, or the subtlety. If you don't like how I built the deck, maybe don't ask me to build it different for you. Maybe you build it different, huh? But I think in your Goryo's Vengeance, Urza Saga, Mox Amber deck, Asmo makes a lot of sense. Alright, we should have won the die roll here. We do have Cauldron, so if we draw a creature, we can go Cauldron, Frog's ability to discard the Griselbrand maybe, but just being underneath the Frog, we're going to get countered out of this game probably. If Tangawar is legal, be modern playable. What's funny is I was working on a brew this week where I severely wish Tangawire was legal. All right, let's go to game 2. The brutal subtlety, but it's going to be a tough package to beat anyways. Now, we do have these Monument to Endurances as a big part of our plan B here. They are playing Rashaka's Bargain, which makes Nihil Spellbomb more appealing, but we do have Cauldron for some graveyard management as is. This is kind of the tentative sideboard plan. When you're boarding into Monuments, you bring in the Shadowspear and the Monuments, and then you cut the Bobo, the Sheoldreds, the Amber, and the 4th Goryos. You said you had Tamiyo instead of Basim before. I did, and I think Basim is better. It's just more. It's better plan B. It draws more cards. It's better with Cauldron. Griselbrand flipping Tamiyo when you turn your Tamiyo into a Griselbrand can be awkward. Spike, when boarding plan B, how many slots do you get? Because boarding out 4 Goryos, but Sheoldreds. This is how I sideboard. This is how I sideboard for the plan B. Usually. You don't cut the Griselbrands. You only trim 1 Goryos. But you don't need Borborygmos in this matchup because if you could just draw a bunch of cards with Griselbrand, you're going to win the game. And that's all you need to do. Okay, I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna lead on Saga Cookbook. And then I'm also gonna play the Opal this turn. Maybe I should have played Opal first. No. They're kind of pausing like they have Force of Negation. Yeah, so probably going to be just making a Saga token this turn. Want them to not be able to respond by bouncing something. Tangle Wire seems bad. Is there another artifact you're referring to? Well, I guess it's not legal in Modern, so I guess I'll never get to show off my idea. But yeah, I did have a deck that would be pretty nice for Tangle Wire. That again, we will not get to test. One, two, so 3, 4, 5 mana. I guess I'm one short of going. Oh no, wait, 3, 4. Yeah, the fifth mana is the Amber we could get. I do think they have Consign. They shocked in the Watery Grave and then they pass, so let's just do this. Yeah, my Tangle Wire tech was United Battlefront, Pescayo's Reconstruction, plus Experiment or Simulacrum Synthesizer, plus 3 mana artifacts that copy artifacts. I was pretty excited about it. Snare. No, I think they have Consign. Like this pause feels very Consigned to me. I'm just gonna grab the Bauble here. I guess if I cast Asmo, I'm probably overcommitting too much into explosives, so let's get in there. It's a frog on top of their library. I think I just cast this. Like there's a good chance they have like Consign plus push to live, but I don't really want to tap my cookbook before I'm casting the monument. Okay, so we go to combat. They have the fatal push. There's a frog on top of their library. They're taking 6 down to 5. I want to save the Asmo too, because we know they have frog in their hand. I want to be able to cast Asmo, then kill the frog. Okay, so 2 things here. One, I've been playing around Consign this game, so on one level, it makes sense to continue playing around Consign. On the other level, my opponent cast Counterspell when I think they should have cast Consign instead if they had it, so I think with that information, I'm going to cast the Monument. It could also it could be Snare, and I could have been wrong, and then I think maybe now it just makes more sense for it to be Snare instead of Frog, or sorry, Snare instead of Consign. But I'm not sure. Seems like it was good. Oh, they shuffled their frog, right? So I mean, it's gonna be very tough for them to beat this. Like even beat a Pithing Needle on Cookbook because we have frog. It could have been for the mana tempo. It could have been, yeah, but like they also didn't consign my Saga chapters. So you would think that if they didn't want to do that, they would have wanted to save the Consign for Monument. That makes sense. So I just think it made sense to not play around Consign anymore, but it wasn't 100%, of course. A lot of interesting lines today. Alright, I think I like our sideboard plan. Let's go to game 3. Was there a line where we didn't discard Frog for an extra engine? I mean, there was a line. That was a very complicated game. We could have cast a Frog at some point in it, for sure. I feel like we navigated that game pretty well, though. But certainly, there were universes where I cast a Frog. Okay, so we are on the draw with the Surveil. We're an 18-land deck. And Urza Saga does not let me cast Frog, but it's still a pretty good draw. Also, Cookbook is a good draw because it unlocks Asmo, which unlocks the Amber. Emry is not a good draw. We don't have Tamiyo. So let's calculate on the draw population size. We're going to do population size. I will do 53, but I'm also going to say that our success... I'm going to say we have 16 lands, 4 cookbooks is going to fetch a land. It's a little bit different because this number is higher on our first draw step and this number is lower on our second. But it shouldn't change the math a lot. Sample size 3, 80% to hit. Keep button clicked. In a matchup where you really don't want to mulligan. Oh, sorry, I did 4 cookbooks. I only have 3. Okay, I mean, so that number's a little lower. Didn't matter. Let's fucking go. All right, Surveil time. There's also some weird stuff like you draw like a 1-mana artifact into Mox Opal too. Could always go draw, discard Griselbrand. It's true. So we lost game 1 because my opponent's on the play and they went Frog, Subtlety by Frog, counter every single spell you play the rest of the game. Hopefully that's not what happens this time around. It's very possible even that they don't have Subtlety in post board. If you yourself, my dear chatters, are Frog gamers, let me know if you would keep in Subtlety against our deck. Can use a calculator and paper. I don't think you're allowed to just whip out a calculator and paper. I will say I encourage you to do it online, so when you're in these paper spots, you can kind of mentally know around where these numbers are. I'm hoping they attack. You can definitely use a calculator. Did they just draw this? Alright, let's let this happen. No blue cards? I don't know how they'd have no blue cards, but maybe. Okay, so they discarded Delta after that. We're going to discard the Amber. It's interesting that they passed priority and then they decided they want to pick this fight. Do I want to keep picking this fight? I do have just one more card in their hand than they do. I think I'm going to discard the Asmo next. Yeah, I think like this just works out well for me if I can just keep making them discarding cards. This is very weird how we both kind of went back and forth on, yeah, we could discard a card versus not. Why wouldn't a calculator be allowed in paper? I mean, I've never seen anybody do it. If judges, let me know if it's allowed. I don't believe that it is, though. They def have a push. If they had push, they would have main phased it almost every single time. And if they do have push, it's not really so bad for me because I can leave this Goryos in my hand, too. Okay, so now we just definitely discard the Watery Grave to make them discard their last card. And then if they discard their last card, then I could just discard mine and then I win this fight. My opponent says botched it. I am inclined to agree. Yeah, frog fights are really weird. I think it's better both frogs survive. Yeah, I know that too, but I just want them to discard their hand so I can Goryo's Griselbrand. That was a fun game. Sounds insane if we draw a land, but let's mulligan. Going to 5. Okay, keeping our 5. So this lets me turn 1, discard Griselbrand, and cast Emry. Listen, when you mull to 5, you don't want to get Thoughtseize. I don't know what to tell you. I think using a calculator is 2% problems, slow play and outside assistance. Yeah, I agree. Both of those seem like that's kind of even why I assumed it wasn't allowed. But to hear people in chat say that they think it is allowed is pretty interesting. Yeah, I just want to make it to where if they draw another discard spell, it's kind of blank. Esper Goryos, maybe? I think I'll discard this now for top decked Asmo. All right. Let me say this. Why would a pen and paper not be allowed and not a calculator? Outside assistance and slow play. Like if my opponent started typing on a calculator mid-match, I would call a judge. I would call a judge and see if they're allowed to do that. I've played tournament Magic for like 12 years and I've never seen anybody do that. And it's a little bit weird to start typing on a device in the middle of a match. Game 1 pest control. I mean, I could top deck a Goryo still, I guess, but that sucks. Mold to 5, get Thoughtseize and pest control to game 1. Goryos. Could do some work. If it takes less than 60 seconds. Honestly, 60 seconds is like too much too, like in a paper, like in a non-chess clock setting. To just sit and do nothing for like 2% of the whole match. I don't know. It's, to me that feels like it shouldn't be allowed. But I don't know. I haven't seen any judges say like I've had this come up or not. Zax's Fair, 1 mana, enters with a counter, so a 1/2. Sack it. Target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Put Zax's counters on the creature and attach an equipment that was attached to Zax to that creature. Okay, that card's interesting. I drew Goryo's Vengeance. It might be a turn too late, but let's see. I'll concede if this gets countered. Isn't slow play stalling if it's for a legit reason? Sorry. If it's for a legit reason for using the calculator to advance the game state, it seems opposite of stalling. Well, how can you know if your opponent goes, 1 second, I'm going to type for 2 minutes? Like, how do you know that it's not for stalling? Like, you could just make an argument that it's almost always stalling even. Okay, so my opponent has 6 damage next turn. So if I draw 7 more, I go to 8, and I'm not dead. Let's surveil this turn, though. I think I don't want to draw anymore. Well, I think a little bit more. So if I draw 7 more cards, I go to 8. They draw a card for turn. They could hit me for 6, down to 2. Yeah, and then if I go Cauldron, Griselbrand, it just doesn't do anything. Yeah, let's just pass. Weird game. Glad we get to play a game after this start. Okay, they are Goryos with main deck Orm's Chant. I actually like that a lot. Why not kick Chant? I don't know. They had the extra mana, didn't they? Bad, you missed 3 life on food. Oh yeah, I was a little demoralized from the pest control, but you're right. Why not play Huge Frogger? My opponent casted Orm's Chant, which stops me from playing any other spells this turn. Okay, so this hits me. They should have almost... Oh, they're at 7. Okay, so they reveal they have 2 main deck pest control. It's wild. Solitude, Pending, Mending, Seize, Solitude, Pest Control. I'm at 8 from the Atraxa, and then 6 from the Frog. So they have to discard 6 cards to the Atraxa. They have 2 in their hand right now. So they have to be able to put 4 into their hand, which it looks like they can do exactly. Okay, having these Cauldrons for the extra main deck graveyard hate's pretty nice. Just gonna pretend I have Fatal Push. You ever get issued any silly game losses? The first time I ever played against a Hall of Famer, my hands were shaking so badly that I knocked my deck on the ground, and I stayed looking up in the air the whole time Which in retrospect, I don't know why like that would even matter, but I was so nervous I did it. I looked in the IR the whole time, and then I called a judge without seeing anything, and then the judge gave me a warning for looking at extra cards, and the Hall of Famer kindly said that that was bullshit, and then I should not have received that warning, which I thought was nice. A different Hall of Famer I played against, this was out of Pro Tour too, said, "Would you like to high roll to go first?" I said, "Sure." Then he rolls 2 dice. One of them lands on the table. The dice is a 1. The other one lands on the ground. And then he goes, "Because the other dice landed on the ground, I get to reroll both of these." I get to reroll both of these. I think I do want to move away from the Sheoldred stuff. I feel like if I just get the Griselbrand going, I can assemble like a game-winning board. And so I called a judge. I just said, "Judge," and then he's like, "I've called a judge before. They said you do it." I'm sure you have. I just want to call a judge. And then the judge said, "You two figure it out." The judge didn't say, "Yes, that's how it works," or "No, it's not how that works." The judge said, "You figure it out." And so I like, sure, whatever. And then that same player also complained when I beat them. And they also won the die roll because of that interaction too. All right, Goryo's dispute chant pending. I think we're taking the pending here. I'm gonna play the Nihil Spellbomb. Mostly kept on this hand because we have double Thoughtseize Spellbomb, of course. So it's okay to trade Emry for dispute because we have 2 Emrys. Good chance that they have Tainted Indulgence if they play the Fountain untapped, of course. So their hand is Goryo's Chant, 2 mystery cards. Do we want to keep a Goryo's? I think yes, because we've got the Emry next turn for the mill. Yeah, it's bullshit. Me and my D&D friends still kind of make fun of that. I get to reroll both. Whenever we roll a dice poorly, we go, "I get to reroll both of these." But like it was the way he said it too. He picked them up and goes, "I get to reroll both of these." I always thought was so funny. Okay, so let's take the Indulgence, I guess. Their hand is so bad if we take the Indulgence. And then I need to decide, am I trading the Emry for the dispute now? I think there's not really a good reason to do that. This hand feels pretty play-aroundable. Bad if they draw a frog, I guess. Interesting. So now we bait the dispute on the Emry because we want the cookbook to resolve more than we want the dispute to resolve. Their hand is Atraxa, Goryo's Orbs Chant. So they will get to Orbs Chant to my Griselbrand, potentially. So I'm going to go ahead and cast the Asmo before I cast the Goryos, because we know they have Chant. We've got the Mox Amber in play. Now, their hand is Goryo's attracts a Chant, so, you know, if they just drew the third counterspell, then, you know, good shit, and we keep playing, but I'm not going to play around that. They also can't kick the Chant, which is pretty nice. So they, because they have double Goryos, they can Goryos the Atraxa next turn. So this is kind of a problem. Oh, I guess I should have saved that for a surveil. All right, so let's activate the Asmo. They're going to discard Atraxa, and I can't crack the Spellbomb now because they'll be able to Goryos in response. So we're going to make them Goryos next turn, I guess. And then we get to draw a card off of the Spellbomb. What if you Spellbomb second main, they draw, but don't get the hits for 7? I guess I'm a little confused what the question is, but I'm kind of focused on this turn, so I don't feel like I can respond. But I'd love to hear maybe a little bit what turn this was and what game this was. Okay, so the Goryos in response. Atraxa hits the field. We don't want to see an Ephemerate revealed. We don't know their last card, right? Yeah, so we could just clear off all this. There's an Ephemerate right there on top and on bottom, and a Pest Control. Which is pretty gnarly. If they find a Solitude off the Ephemerated Atraxa, that's pretty bad. Do get to draw a card here. Another copy of Asmo is not doing a lot, I guess. Now, notably, Atraxa having Death Touch means if we Asmo it, it dies. They put Frog, Ephemerate, Pest Control into their hand. They actually didn't find a land, funny enough. Here we don't see a Solitude, which is good. We do see a Surgical, which is bad, though. Your second main phase, they have 2 Goryos, so you don't have a way to stop it. So cracking Spellbomb in your second main phase, the turn previous, so you don't get hit for 7. That's true, but they do get to untap with like a full grip. But yeah, maybe that was good. Thank you for clarifying. They choose Pending, Strand, Surgical. Now we're gonna get our pests controlled next turn, unfortunately. So I'm not going to be making a construct with this Saga. Probably getting Spellbomb. Or sorry, Bauble. I don't know why I said Spellbomb. Okay, get the Bauble. I need to cast this cookbook so I can kill the Atraxa, and I want to draw a card for Basim anyways. So I need to discard 2 of these cards to kill the Atraxa. Should I be interested at all in like forcing a chump? I don't think that makes a lot of sense. So let's discard Watery Grave and 3rd Asmo. Yeah, it's just more damage to do this. So it only deals 6 damage, but it has Death Touch, so it dies. Now I'm attacking for 10 damage, going to put my opponent down to 9. And then I want to play a Psychic Frog, which survives the Pest Control, and I want to... Wait, did they put another Goryos into their hand? Sorry, it's always so hard to keep track with Atraxa. Yeah, no, they didn't. They put the Surgical in their hand instead. So the hand should be Prismatic Ending, Flooded Strand, Surgical, Pest Control, Psychic Frog. That's 5 cards, right? And then 1 mystery card, which I guess it could be the 3rd Goryos. So let's see if that top card's a Goryos. It's a Consign. It's an interesting card to see. Why not hold up Making Construct? I am going to do that. Oh no, what I said that made you think I wasn't. Asmo is 0 mana value. Okay, they play the Flooded Strand. They have Frog, Ephemerate, Prismatic Ending. So maybe they're going to go Prismatic Ending my Basim or my Frog and then play their own Frog. I don't know which one is the better target for the ending, and I don't know. Oh, if I wait the land drop, I see. Deep in this house today. We've won our last 5 matches. It's been going pretty good. We got main deck pest controlled and Thoughtseize at our Mold of 5 this game 1, and then we almost won the match. Or almost won game 1. Match still going, it seems. Okay, making a construct. So this is going to be unblockable. I've drawn a Goryo's Vengeance, which is interesting. I don't have a Griselbrand in my yard at the moment. I could Goryo's Asmo and attack for 3 more damage. I could Goryo's Emry. I could also hold the Goryos, which is probably just going to be my move. So if I do I have another cookbook in my deck? There's one here. I think there's one in exile. No, there's not. One here, one here. So I don't have another cookbook I could get off this. I could get a Mox. Yeah, and if I get a Mox, and I could still Goryo's a Griselbrand if I drew it off the Basim. I guess I only have 1 Amber left, so I'd rather have the higher chance to draw the Mox that does something for me. I think that makes sense. I've drawn Cauldron. So Cauldron allows me to cast a Nihil Spellbomb here and pivot really hard if I want to. Now, I need to not die to this Psychic Frog attack. So I was thinking I was just... Oh, I can't Asmo in Cookbook. They do have Surgical Extraction. Oh, sorry. Sorry. For some reason, I was thinking to myself that I needed to Cauldron the Emry to have Graveyard Hate. Obviously, the Emry is just Graveyard Hate itself. Sorry, obviously, the Cauldron is just Graveyard Hate itself. So I'll just cast it main phase to grow the construct. And make it a chump block for the Frog. And their hand should be Ephemerate, Surgical Extraction, Mystery card. And we're even beating another Pest Control. Gab, thanks for the raid. Hope you're doing well. We're playing a Ember Mox Opal Goryo's build where you get to be like really resilient with Frog, Basim, Emry, Saga, Sheoldred, and then you also get to combo off by like Griselbranding into a lot of Moxen. We've won our last 5 matches, and we're going to game 3 against Esper Goryos here. We had Tomio in their first drift. We cut them for Basims because like flipping Tomio when you turn into a Griselbrand was pretty awkward. I don't know my opinion on Lava Spur Boots would have been lethal. So I think Boots is playable. But I don't always play it. I've been cutting it a lot of my Corey Steelcutter list because Corey Steelcutter is like 4 haste equipments. In this deck, I just don't think it's almost ever like reasonable to main deck it or sideboard it. But I do play it sometimes. I think it's a playable card. Well, we got a Frog and a Cauldron and a Brand, so let's click the Keep button. Cauldron, of course, kind of doubly good in this deck, since they're also Goryos. We'd probably play Cauldron turn 2, although I guess there's the issue of them having Prismatic Ending, but I also don't want to lose to my opponent just Goryosing me on turn 3. Any chance you're going to play Sultai Skimmer again? Yeah, maybe. So, like, one thing is about, like, the process here on the stream is that I don't plan streams more than, like, 1 day ahead ever. So they don't usually go for the... Okay, they kept a 1-lander. Yeah, but I almost never plan streams, like, more than a day ahead, and... So I just don't... I can't tell you when I'll play the deck you want me to play again, but hopefully at some point. Okay, so we saw that they have Dispute in their deck, which I think is going to make me want to play the Cauldron. Obviously, they have got Attracts in the yard, and they don't have another land, so they're not necessarily going to be able to Prismatic Ending me. Although they do force pitching Tainted Indulgence, which stinks. Do they find the second land yet? They do. They don't have a black source, which is good news, though. I draw an Underworld Cookbook, which I guess I'll be casting that this turn so my Emry can be cheaper. Or is it better to Surveil? think it's better to cast. And if they exile my frog, I'll discard a Griselbrand. The new 5-drop that turns opponent's lands into waste. No, I'd love to take a look though. Oh, I guess I want to discard this to the cookbook and not the frog, of course. All right, we're looking for a Cauldron. We're looking for Goryos. They could have Surgical though. Could maybe mill Cauldron with Emry and cast it. Only 2 more in the deck after our first cut. Four Spies at 30 months. Thank you, welcome back. Could mill an Amber and an Opal. Gonna play another copy of Frog. I do think they have a Goryos in their hand if they kept the 1-lander. And then there's the Black Source. Dang it. Okay, we don't see an Ephemerate revealed, which is good news. This is not the most powerful hits in general, although maybe they could discard Griselbrand or Attracts at a hand size, and Goryos again next turn. Did I share the reasoning for no Oval Chase Daredevil already? Yeah, so like, I mean, if you look at the deck, like, we don't have Daredevil, we don't have Emperor of Bones, we don't have Tamiyo, we don't have Fatal Push, we don't have Thoughtseize in the main. All of these cards you could play. If you think one of these cards is optimal, I would love to hear what you would cut instead, but the reason is that I just think every card here is better than playing Oval Chase Daredevils. Okay, so it looks like they okay, what did they put in their hand? They put Atraxa, Pest Control, Delta. So they're going to discard the Pest Control, the Atraxa the hand size, and go again next turn. Big draw step for me. Not a very big draw. I think I play my second Tamiyo, or second Emry main phase 1 so that I can try to mill over Cauldron and maybe Cauldron Griselbrand on the frog. I did not accomplish that. So now I need to draw Goryo's Cauldron or Nihil Spellbomb off of my frog. Maybe, wow, Asmo, but we did it. Oh, sorry, I forgot they have the pest control, although I don't know if it matters that much. Do they have another Force of Negation? Okay, thankfully not. But yeah, I just wanted to replay the Spellbomb after cracking it here. And if they pest control it away, that's fine. Okay, they surgical the Spellbomb. I feel like that's just a win with me having this Griselbrand in my hand, I guess. We're gonna take that one. To some extent, with Oval Chase 2, it's like the 2 game plans overlap, and some cards just don't overlap that well. And Oval Chase is one of those that doesn't overlap as well. Okay, so their hand is Goryo's Vengeance. Sorry, Goryo's Vengeance, land. I think of that Delta we knew. It doesn't look like we know any other card besides the Pest Control. Could have exiled with Frog. I mean, that's true, but I only have 1 Nihil Spellbomb on my deck, but I guess I let them see my hand, which is probably wrong. Prismatic Ending on the Frog's pretty bad for me. Are they also going to Pest Control? No, they play a frog. Okay, come on, Goryos, come on, Cauldron. Okay, we could surveil Cauldron into the yard, I guess. Damn it. So I guess I'm going to spend this turn activating a cookbook on a frog, probably. Try to force the issue of pest control. My opponent can put me to 2 if they discard their whole hand. Now they do still have Goryos. We've exiled the Atraxa, but if they have another Atraxa, we're probably cooked. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I guess we are kind of close. We could just try to draw a land and then cast the Griselbrand. Because we have the Emry. That's if they don't pest control me, of course. Which they probably will this turn. Well, chop decking a land and hardcasting Griselbrand would be a pretty funny way to end this match. Is Basim better than Frog? No, I think Frog has just got to be the... Basim draws me a card this turn. Let's take the Basim. And I can start gaining life off food tokens too. Now, of course, if I draw a land, I'm going to cast the Griselbrand. Oh, they Orims chant me. Damn it. Okay, we've been chanted. I guess we're cracking our food token. Although if I crack my food token, I can't Griselbrand next turn if I draw the land, and I can't Asmo. They discard the Griselbrand, and we know they have a Goryo, so GG, unfortunately. Good match. Good match. I feel like I got to use my brain more than I have in a while. That Force of Negation was on the Cauldron on turn 2 was so devastating. Shadow Flame the 5, welcome back. I guess we're keeping this. Love to draw. This hand actually can win turn 1 if we draw Mox Opal and we mill Griselbrand with Emry. We have the potential for a turn 1 win. Kind of specific, of course. As turn 1 wins often are. Aggro mutagenic growth. Makes my turn 1 wins less likely. Prouse matchup has been pretty good, although we'll see how dead we are here. Kind of surprised they just fired both of these off this turn. Okay, Lava Dart, so I'm down to 10 if they don't flash it back. And then down to 9 after my fetch, then down to 8 after my other fetch. Don't need a second Goryos. Gonna play Basim, draw a card. Okay, so we have a land for next turn. It's kind of interesting to not block with Basim so I can play Sheoldred. What's the meme? I can't believe you're this all in. I did that on... I think I played a Swiftspear, and then I went Faithless Looting, discard Lava Dart, flashback both Lava Darts or something like that to like attack to put pressure against my Eldrazi opponent, and then my opponent said something to the effects of, I can't believe you're this all in, and then I said, let's see who wins, and then I won, and then he got so tilted. I can't remember if that's the full meme. All right, let's block the 2/2 and go to 4 instead of going to 2. Gonna be a tough game still. They do only have one card in their hand. Griselbrand. Okay. So I've got several options here. I can Goryo's Borborygmos and attack with it, putting my opponent down to 6 if they don't block, which means if I hit any land, if they don't block, I win the game. And if I hit 2 lands, if they don't block, and they do block, I win the game. So that seems to be the play. And if they don't block and I don't hit a land, then I can kill a creature. Okay, so they do chump block. So now I have to hit 2 lands for lethal. Not very likely in 3 cards. Okay, so I deal 3 damage here. I deal 3 damage here, and I hope you don't have a Lightning Bolt or a Lava Dart as one of your last 2 cards after you draw. Some great games today. Preordain. So I actually have lethal next turn by cauldroning my Psychic Frog onto the Emry. So they have to go land Bolt, land Lava Dart. And I think they just top deck this Preordain too. So I think we're probably going to win. I like how they had to block with the Channeler to live here too. No, it's kind of a close call. Maybe it was... This pitches Dugan's Lab. Is it the 9-drop? Because I don't think that card's very good. Oh, right. Land spell lets me have to chump. That's true. Well, it looks like you just got to turn the merfolk into a frog to win matches of Modern. All right, so Ultima wasn't very good. Let's see if Ultima Weapon is any good. I'm going to bring in the Shadowspear. I'm going to cut the Bauble. And then I'm going to look at this card. 7 mana. When equipped creature attacks, destroy target creature opponent controls. Equipped creature gets +7/+7. Equip 7. I feel like it should be destroy 7 creatures that opponent controls. Why? Like, why not? You know? Why not? I feel like that would be fine. Let me know if that's fine or if it's good I don't work at Wizards, I guess. Let's go to 6. Let's go to 5. Just got a mulligan kind of aggressive against prowess, I think. Yeah, this hand's going to be best of them so far. Obviously, we need to find a land. Unplayable either way. Yeah, exactly. Like, at least make it symmetrical and fun, you know? Like, but imagine equipping that to your Sire of the 7 Deaths. And you're like, yeah, I have a 7-themed commander deck. I've got Sire of the 7 Deaths and this card, and I'm waiting for other cards to get printed, of course. On a scale of 0 to Doda, how fixed is the NBA lottery? I don't know. I am like a year-old NBA fan, so I don't really, you know, I don't know, but I don't even know how good this how good is this what's his name? Cooper Flag or something like that. The new Maverick who's going to be the first round draft pick. Like I don't even know how good this guy is supposed to be. LeBron level good. Let's go. I have my Mavericks Luka shirt on right now. Let's go, baby! I don't know. Is it rigged? Probably. As long as Nico doesn't trade out. I mean, can we trade him for Luka? Can we trade Cooper? And listen, I want to be Anthony Davis's only fan. He needs a fan so badly. You know what I mean? Like he has no one. So like, I was open to being his only fan here, but I wonder if instead it's better to just let him go home, you know? Or can we trade him for Wimby? Dude, if we trade this guy for Wimby, that would be pretty good. Anthony Davis is literally the best player to match the flag, honestly. That's exciting. Like, I don't know. I just feel like Anthony Davis, he looks so sad being here. And I want to be in that stadium going, Anthony! Cheer up, Anthony, please. I'm here to support you. I feel he needs someone to do that, and I feel like that could be me as someone who isn't all that invested in this. All right, didn't find second land. Let's go to game 3. Or Opal. It would have been live. Well, I'm keeping this. Gonna graveyard the Goryo, the Asmo, I guess. So, I don't know. I'll say this. I was really like, am I going to be a Spurs fan? Am I going to be an Oklahoma's fan? Because it's about 3 hours. I guess it's more for San Antonio. It's like 4 or 5 to drive. But it's like 20 minutes to be a Mavericks fan. But they traded Luka. It's so like maybe this just bails me out of that issue I was having. So I want to save that for Surveil. Obviously Spurs. Yeah, I mean, I want to go to a Spurs game next year. But maybe Spurs v Mavs. I could wear my Wimby jersey. You can just totally live in Flower Mound. I don't live in Flower Mound. 20 minutes away from what I described is like like 5 different cities almost. So they don't. I guess I'm gonna cast the Sheoldred first. Not gonna surveil anymore, so that. Oh, I don't get to draw my card because the Basim triggers before the Sheoldred is in play. It's probably okay. Hopefully mill over a Griselbrand and can combo off next turn. We milled over an Emry and an Amber and the Sheoldred. Well, I'm going to attack. DFW is so big. Yeah, when I went to Connecticut a couple weekends ago, we looked it up, and DFW is about twice the size of the state of Connecticut. Ha, take 2. Yeah, I just love that you also just cast Sheoldred. You just cast Basim, cast Frog, make Saga token, cast Asmo, cast Sheoldred, and then sometimes you win the game on turn 2 or turn 3. When I was in Connecticut, I went to a friend's wedding. A handsome doctor marrying a beautiful doctor in Connecticut. It was a fairy tale wedding. All right, put us down to 9. That doctor used to be a Burn player back in the day. I don't know if she would have married him if she knew about that. I had to keep my lips sealed here. Surgical Sheoldred. Really? They do have Delirium now. So if they have Violent Urge, that's 8 in the air from the Channeler, or 12 on the ground from the Swift Spear. So I would have to block if they attacked with the Swift Spear. And they did, so we do. Could maybe have blocked with the Sheoldred and just Goryo's did too. They could have another Surgical though. They did have the Violent Urge. I guess we're dead to Mutagenic Growth. There was no way to play around that. But how could they have it? Surely that would have already been cast. Or like they would have not taken so much time. I don't know. Now they're just dead on board. Nice. Oh, listen, I don't know anything. So I'm a baby NBA fan, but surely it's possible. You know what I mean? Surely we have the technology. Okay, Cycle Street Wraith. This Living End? Frog is pretty good against Living End. Just discard, discard, discard. Probably should be a great matchup. Listen, please don't have Subtlety. It's rigged. It's rigged if they have Subtlety. Rigged, 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 rigged. I guess we bottom. Rigged! Although we're kind of just doing fine. I guess the Street Wraiths having Swamp Walk's tough, though. So we can exile these 3 to block the Subtlety. Take 6 down to 14. 14 is just the worst number. Well, not the worst, but a bad number to be at, though. Come on. All right. It's a game 2. The good news is we didn't show them Griselbrand. Shouldn't be that tough of a matchup overall with our like discard stuff, getting Griselbrand in the yard, and having 4 consigns, Nihil Spellbomb, Agatha's Soul Cauldron, but we can lose, and if we do lose, it's rigged. I do want to keep in the Sheoldred Griselbrand stuff. I want to keep in the cookbooks. Let's cut Bauble and 3 Asmos, I think. I guess maybe, and 1 Amber. I have no skin in the game, just telling you how these things work. Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I don't know anything, you know. Yeah, so we should have the Ashiok too. Alright, no Asmo. It's not that it's happening this time that makes me have no doubt these things are rigged. It's the fact that it happens every NBA lottery. Yeah. I hear you. -3 Basim, +3 Thoughtseize. I don't like Thoughtseize that much against Living in general. They're just very good at like cantripping into the stuff. So I think probably not, but it could be fine. Enough artifacts for Opal. Yeah, Cookbook by itself is enough for Opal, and you have Saga for Cookbook too. So like your artifact count is very weird in this deck, but it's just Cookbook is a 1-card enabler, and you have multiple ways to get into play. Am I rooting for Thunder in the playoffs? I don't know. I guess so. I took a bunch of Cookbook shooters. Yeah, that's true. I still have. I'm kind of talking more in general, right? And I'm saying it's just a bit weird and hard to understand even. I'm gonna keep our 6 or 5. Oh, 5. I think I'm keeping the cookbook over the Saga since this allows us to discard big things we draw to the living end, and it also gives us another historic spell for the Basim. I think I'm going to say no to that, just since like if we can get a Griselbrand in the yard, like doing that's going to be good without the Goryos, so I think we just have enough good draws to find instead. A Dispute would be pretty bad here. Maybe they have a Street Wraith? They're thinking about wraithing into like a subtlety or surveilling before they subtlety. I'll get back to you on that, sweetie.
But I really want to use it.
Sorry about that. So probably cooked. Obviously, is a tough mull to 5. The man with his subtlety is pretty tough. Maybe they won't have a Cascader. Okay, stop with the raids. I mean, so we're kind of going through the motions here. We could draw Goryo's Griselbrand off the Basim. Less likely because we already ditched the Goryos. Even then, they can double block the Griselbrand with Generous Hints, so it's like that's not even a guaranteed line. And they hey, Consign Emry, hello. We drew the Griselbrand. Maybe it was possible to get the Goryos here. Maybe they still have Force of Negation. Let's finish up the league. Gotta keep this. So obviously the Saga makes this hand a little bit weird. I'm probably leading on Urza Saga so I can go turn 2 Cauldron, and then that allows me to get a... I guess I would have to draw a Mox. I think that's okay. My opponent's got a Windswept Heath Go. I've not won a lot of die rolls. Okay, they go Rumble. They rumble over Cord, Young Wolf, Verdant Catacombs. I was kind of hoping we get to see a Grist. They choose the Young Wolf. And we draw an Emry, so we can draw either Mox. Oh, I guess we don't even need we don't need the land because we could just get Cookbook, discard Griselbrand, and then cast something else. Do they have Chord? They can Chord for a Bowmaster, right? No, they can't because they can't tap and sack this. Cast Emry. Next turn, yeah. But it kind of depends on what we draw, too. Can get them off Delirium for Woodland, not a big thing. Okay, so we drew Cookbook. Does that mean I want to get Opal? I think I still just want to get Cookbook so I can have more Opals in my deck to draw into here. Although, this could let me put the Cookbook on something like Asmo instead. It's a little weird. I think let's just get a Cookbook. Let's cast Emry. We still have our land drop to hit. We have a mana floating, so if we can find 2 Mox in, we can cast the Sheoldred and pop off. And if we can't assemble that, then we can go from there, or for there, or from there. Sorry. Draw 7. 1 Mox, 2 Mox, 3 Mox. Perfect. Wait, not perfect, because we didn't draw an untapped land. And we didn't draw 2 Mox Opals. Did I draw Goryos? I didn't draw Goryos. So I have 4 mana. I can't cast the Sheoldred. Should I just draw 7 more right now? Is there another avenue here? If I cast this Asmo, then my Mox Opal's tap for black, but then I can't cast the Sheoldred anyway, so let's just draw 7 more, down to 4. So there's untapped lands, but no more Moxen. So I should have 5 mana available to me here. So weird. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna cast Sheoldred and I'm gonna cast Mox Amber Cookbook. The Sheoldred is just not something they can combo through. Maybe we shouldn't have the second. I probably just have to play the second Surveil land. Is there a reason people aren't playing Catchmos with Path? I get Path isn't popular anymore, but 1 mana exile creature draw a card seems good. Well, you can already 1 mana exile creature draw a card. You can 0 mana exile creature draw a card, but you don't have to do it with Path. Yeah, I want to play the Cookbook so that my Asmo could just come down and get something next turn. All right, so fizzled a little bit here. I'm going to keep only 1 Asmo in my hand so I can discard 1. I can discard another Griselbrand. Oh, actually, maybe keep that in hand in case they have Endurance, although I guess I already have Cauldron. My opponent chords for 1 end of turn. It's going to be very tough for them to play Yawgmoth, kill Sheoldred, and combo off them. We'll see if they can do it. I do want to keep lands in hand for Borborygmos too. So it's turn 4. Here's the Yawgmoth. Now the Innkeeper in play does make it a little bit easier for them to do this. Should you have kept both Griselbrand in hand in case they have their own Cauldron? Yeah, maybe. They can't draw. Well, they can draw some. They could also just kill my Sheoldred and not really do much else. Oh, I do have Sheoldred for Cauldron. I see. That's what you're saying. So this is -2 life for them every time. 1 from the Yawgmoth, 2 from the Sheoldred, and then +1 from the Innkeeper. So they don't get to do too many of these. I am only at 3, so if they find Court of Calling pretty quick, then they can kill me with the Blood Artist, I guess. Down to 6, though, so they can't really do too many more of these. Then they pass. Cool. Go into discard. Okay, so I still have my Griselbrand Cauldron. However, it seems they removed the counter from the Emry. When did that happen? I'm at 5 life now. So to me, it seems like what I want to do is I want to sacrifice a food for life, and then Cauldron and get a counter on the Griselbrand. Probably Cauldroning the Asmo. Oh, sorry. I guess what's going to be better is I should cast the Frog. Because this I could just respond to their stuff by Griselbranding. Oh, right. Also, if I Cauldron onto Sheoldred, it just removes the -1 counter. Remember, you can't Asmo the Yogg. Oh, I remember. I am painfully aware. Oh, but I can kill Yogg if I. That's true. If I Cauldron Asmo onto like a frog. Wow. Okay, well let's do we die to Bowmaster if I do this? Kinda. So I guess to play around that, let me play this. Although it doesn't seem like my opponent basically can have Court of Calling. I guess they could have Court of Calling in their hand and Blood Artist in their hand. That's possible. Oh, Yogg has protection from himself. Dang it. Still doesn't work, huh? You can Asmo Orc. Well, the problem is I go to 1 when I pay 7, and then I just die to the ping, so I needed to have the ability to sack a food instead. And I could also Asmo, yeah. Okay, so this is going to put me to 1 card in my deck. So I want to have the ability to respond to endurance, which obviously isn't very likely, but let's just have the ability. And then I don't think there's a lot of reason to not also get this Griselbrand and present lethal in the air before we do anything else. Yeah, they probably they should have killed my Sheoldred in response to my draw 7. I agree. Okay, so up a game against Yawgmoth, kind of a close one there. I think I'm just bringing in the Needle. Cauldron is better Graveyard Hate than Spellbomb. You could play the Thoughtseizes. I think we'll just run back here. Oh, sorry, they would die to the Yawgmoth activations. Yeah, so of course. Yeah, the all your creatures can be cast. It's a visual bug with Cauldron. It doesn't actually affect the game. I did see the Ultima card. It does not look like something that is going to make the cut in Modern, but I mean, we'll think about it some more, I guess. So my opponent's on a Mold-a-Six here. Our hand's pretty good. Now I think I want to just play tapped Watery Grave because I want to leave both or one of these in my hand for turn 3 after I go Basim, Amber, one of these two. And then I want to have another historic card to draw off the Basim the following turn. So if they go Grist here, we're going to have to go Basim, Amber, Needle the Grist so that we don't get the Basim just minused. Unless we draw Goryos. Oh, I guess I'm going to Needle the Ooze now. Oh, it's possible I could like kill the Ooze with Asmo. It's possible I could get around this. Okay, I drew the Asmo, so... Do I want... Yeah, I guess we'll just play Cookbook now. And just see where we're going from here. Which ultimate we're talking, the board wipe or the blight counter creature? I didn't see a board wipe. I saw a 5-mana creature. She's probably like an incredible commander. Just like you're a colorless commander and your commander doubles your mana. That seems nuts. So they tap out for Yawgmoth. You're not sack. You sack your Scavenging Ooze to kill my Basim? Let's fucking go, dude. Yes, please. Maybe they have a Cauldron for the Ooze. Someone's a Basim Respecter, though. How is being a colorless commander good? Doesn't that mean you're pretty restricted on your card choices? I mean, you can build colorless commander decks. I mean, you can build colorless modern decks. You can build colorless commander decks, and a commander that doubles your mana. You don't like the sound of that? And it's a pretty unique option. Although playing an Eldrazi might be better. Although you can play this, you can play all the Eldrazi. They do have the Cauldron. Although they can't activate the Ooze ability from the Yawgmoth, which is kind of interesting. Now, it is very, very risky to discard this Griselbrand because of the Cauldron. So let's not. Let's save this cookbook in our hand to draw a card off Asmo. Or sorry, off Basim. Play Frog off of Amber, Watery Grave, and then play the Saga. Ultima, 5 mana, destroy all artifacts creatures in the turn. Weird. Weird, but cool. Stops all dice effects. That's pretty cool. Didn't think about that. So they green send for 3, probably for a Grist. Is a fairy still legal? In modern? Yes. In standard, no. Well, okay, let's draw a card, make Basim unblockable. Okay. Now it may look like I'm forgetting my plan to avoid the Cauldron from the Griselbrand from the Cauldron, but what's actually happening is I'm just going to fly my Frog here. I may want to leave a Saga in my hand or just another card to discard to Cookbook, although I could discard whatever I draw off the Frog to Cookbook, and I think I'm just trying to get in for as much damage as possible. I can feel how thirsty my opponent is to Cauldron my Griselbrand. Final Fantasy's Modern Legal? Yes, it's just like a normal standard set, except people online are going to be really annoying about it. Okay, exile. I guess it's also like a standard set. Okay, so this is gonna deal 9 damage, putting them down to 5. Shout out Dolly Parton. Have you seen the Moonmist spike? We've been talking a little bit about Moonmist. I haven't seen. I forgot to look at any of the creatures if there's anything good to Moonmist. Yeah, I'll look at the Preordain promo. Preordain was such a good unban. Okay, let's kill this. I think you have to be a Final Fantasy fan, probably. I also like the Lord of the Rings Preordain. I'm pretty partial. If a Moonmist deck ends up being viable, that'll be so cool. Wait. Oh, they can tap Yawgmoth for Dryad Arbor because Needle doesn't stop mana abilities. Isn't that fun? 1-1 in the chat if you're a Final Fantasy fan. 2-2 if you don't know what the hell's going on, because I don't know what the hell's going on with the lore. I know it's very big, but I just have never gotten into it. Seems like a few more 2-2s. 1-1 but don't like it in Magic. Yeah. That's fair. I've just always cared about the game pieces more than the flavor, but I'll be making a lot of angry TikToks on the topic that you can find at Inspiring Timmy at TikTok.com. I'll be yelling and my face will be very red. Okay, they plus the Grist. Okay, you're gonna pick him up? Or
how much time do you have?
not that much.
2.
Okay, I'll pick him up. What does Green Sun for 1 do here? And why, if it was for Young Wolf, why wouldn't they Green Sun and then minus the Grist? So they are getting Young Wolf. They have an answer to the Needle? What? Why? Endurance target me. Sure, okay. This blocks the Frog, I guess? So if I draw any historic card, I have lethal with Basim. I didn't board in the Shadowspear. Okay, hello, any historic card that... this is actually the perfect historic card because this also lets me fly the Frog. You have lethal against Spellbomb. I'm not playing Spellbomb because it's just too hard to fit these kind of like toolbox cards in when you're playing the Goryo's package. Just the perfect top deck, though. Okay, so our Basim is unblockable. I guess the Frog... Sorry, the Frog was going to be not able to fly anyways, but... should be good. I guess, yeah, there's no creatures in graveyards for them to gain life with the Scavenging Ooze. I don't even know what your commander cards are doing. Commander cards? Basim, I guess? I'm gonna not respond to this. So they have Court of Calling as their last card. Court for 0. Isn't their Arbor already gone? Yeah, their Arbor is already gone, so I think this is them doing... Oh, Ballista in the yard, of course. But they Cauldron Ballista... They Cauldron Ballista instead of exiling with Ooze to gain a life. They put the counter here. Now what? Die. Okay, they could have lived. All right, I like this take of Goryo's. This is how I would build Goryo's. I think we showed off the speed and the resiliency in the plan B pretty well. Although it's still Goryo's and you lose to inconsistency and graveyard hate sometimes. That's gonna be it. I'm gonna go pick up the dogs from the vet. They just had a checkup. No big deal. I'll be back tomorrow. I've got a pretty sweet... Bye.